The silence of deep space is a deceptive thing to the uninitiated. It's emptiness, a void. But to those who traverse the gulf between stars, it's a canvas teeming with untold stories, whispered on cosmic winds. And the greatest, most haunting of these whispers speaks of the elder race. Legends paint them as beings of unimaginable power, architects of galaxies, masters of energies we can only dream of harnessing. They rose to galactic dominance eons ago, a civilization so advanced that their technology seemed like magic. They shaped worlds, bent the laws of physics, and held dominion over a vast empire that spanned countless star systems. Then, as suddenly as they appeared, they vanished, and war, no cataclysm, just gone, leaving behind only ruins, echoes of their greatness scattered across the cosmos. For millennia, their existence was relegated to myth, a cautionary tale whispered by navigators and fringe scientists. Many dismissed them as a fanciful invention, a way to explain the unexplainable anomalies found scattered across charted space. But the truth, like a sleeping giant, lay dormant, waiting to be awakened. Humanity, in its relatively short time among the stars, had stumbled upon tantalizing clues, impossible structures on lifeless moons, energy signatures that defied explanation, fragments of technology that seemed to operate on principles beyond our comprehension. These discoveries fueled the flames of curiosity, igniting a desire to understand the race that had come before. This pursuit led to the formation of specialized deep space expeditions, ventures funded by governments and private organizations alike, driven by the promise of unlocking the secrets of the elder race. These expeditions were not merely scientific endeavors. They were pilgrimages into the unknown, fueled by the hope of finding answers to the fundamental questions of existence. Where do we come from? Are we alone? And what is our destiny in this vast, indifferent universe? They carried with them the weight of expectation, the hopes of a species yearning to understand its place in the cosmic tapestry. Little did they know, they were about to unearth not just answers, but a chilling warning that could seal humanity's fate. Among these expeditions, the Odyssey, a vessel forged from cutting-edge technology and fueled by audacious ambition, stands out. Commanded by Captain Eva Rostova, a veteran explorer haunted by a past she couldn't outrun, the Odyssey was a microcosm of humanity itself, a blend of brilliance, flaws, and unwavering determination. Rostova, a name whispered with reverence and a hint of pity in the halls of the Galactic Exploration Consortium, had seen things out in the black, things that defied logic, things that challenged the very fabric of reality. She carried the weight of those experiences in the lines etched around her eyes, in the quiet intensity that radiated from her. She wasn't driven by glory or riches. She sought understanding, a reason for the cosmic anomalies that had plagued her career. Her crew was a carefully selected ensemble of specialists, each possessing unique skills and perspectives. Dr. Jian Li, the xenolinguist, a brilliant but eccentric scholar obsessed with deciphering the languages of extinct civilizations. His office was a chaotic mess of datapads, ancient texts, and half-eaten nutrient paste, a testament to his single-minded dedication. Marcus Cole, the chief engineer, a pragmatic and resourceful technician who could coax life out of the most stubborn machinery. He was the heart of the Odyssey, keeping the ship running smoothly despite the constant strain of interstellar travel. And finally, Lieutenant Commander Anya Sharma, the tactical officer, a sharp and disciplined officer responsible for the ship's security and defense. She was Rostova's right hand, her unwavering support in the face of the unknown. The Odyssey's mission was deceptively simple: to investigate a newly discovered planet designated LX-492, a world located in a remote sector of the galaxy, flagged for potentially containing elder race artifacts. Initial scans revealed unusual energy signatures emanating from the planet's surface, hinting at the presence of advanced technology. The crew knew the risks, the dangers of venturing into the unknown, but the potential reward, the chance to unlock the secrets of the elder race, was too great to resist. as the Odyssey hurtled towards LX. 492, a sense of anticipation filled the ship. Rostova gathered her crew in the briefing room, her voice calm but firm. "We don't know what awaits us on that planet," she said, her gaze sweeping across their faces. "But we must proceed with caution, with respect, and with an unwavering commitment to understanding the truth. The fate of humanity may depend on it." LX 492 emerged from the swirling nebulae like a ghost ship from a cosmic fog. Initially, it appeared unremarkable, a terrestrial planet orbiting a dying star. But as the Odyssey drew closer, the sensors painted a far more complex picture. The planet's surface was scarred by vast, geometric structures, visible even from orbit. These weren't natural formations. They were the unmistakable hallmarks of intelligent design, colossal monuments to a civilization that had once called this world home today. Thick, unnatural atmosphere shrouded the planet, filtering the starlight into an eerie, perpetual twilight. The scans revealed pockets of intense energy readings clustered around the largest structures, suggesting that some form of power source was still active after millennia of dormancy. There were also anomalies, localized distortions in space-time, subtle but unsettling. Rostova watched the data streams with a growing sense of unease. "Anything on the atmosphere, DRLI?" she asked, her voice tight. "Complex, Captain," Lee replied, his fingers flying across his console. "High concentrations of exotic gases, some of which are unfamiliar, that I'm detecting trace amounts of artificial compounds, possibly used for atmospheric regulation, that it's breathable technically, but I wouldn't recommend taking off your helmet." Cole chimed in, "The energy signatures are fluctuating, Captain. It's like something's waking up down there." Sharma's voice was crisp and professional. "I'm detecting no active defense systems, Captain, but there are numerous unidentified objects scattered across the surface. They could be anything from automated drones to, well, we don't know." Rostova considered the information, her mind racing. The planet was far more complex and potentially dangerous than they had anticipated. But the lure of the unknown, the promise of uncovering the secrets of the Elder race, was too strong to resist. "Prepare a landing party," she ordered, her voice resolute. "DR.LI. Commander Sharma, you're with me, Mr. Cole. You're in charge of maintaining the ship and monitoring our progress. We'll proceed with extreme caution. Remember, we are guests on this world, that let's not disturb the sleep of giants unless we have to." The landing shuttle, Icarus, detached from the Odyssey and began its descent towards the alien world. As they pierced the thick atmosphere, the crew braced themselves for whatever awaited them on the surface of LX 492, a forgotten world teeming with the ghosts of a vanished civilization. The air crackled with anticipation and a palpable sense of dread. The Icarus touched down on a vast, obsidian plain, the landing gear hissing as it settled onto the smooth, glassy surface. Outside, the landscape was alien and desolate. Colossal structures, their forms defying easy description, loomed in the distance, their silhouettes stark against the twilight sky. They were unlike anything Rostova had ever seen, a testament to the Elder race's mastery of architecture and engineering. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, broken only by the hum of the Icarus's engines. Rostova ran a diagnostic check on her environmental suit, her heart pounding in her chest. "All right, people, let's move out," she said, her voice echoing in her helmet. "Sharma, you're on point. Li. Stay close. And keep your eyes open, that we don't know what's waiting for us out there." The landing party disembarked, their boots crunching on the strange, crystalline ground. As they moved away from the shuttle, the colossal structures grew larger, more imposing. They were constructed from a dark, metallic material that seemed to absorb light, giving them an almost ethereal quality. Intricate patterns were etched into their surfaces, swirling designs that seemed to shift and change as they moved closer. "Incredible," Lee breathed, his eyes wide with wonder. "The craftsmanship, the artistry, it's beyond anything I could have imagined." He reached out a gloved hand to touch one of the structures, his fingers tracing the intricate patterns. Sharma remained focused, her weapon raised, scanning the surroundings. "Captain, I'm picking up some unusual readings," she said, her voice tense. "Localized energy spikes and, I'm not sure how to describe it, a feeling of being watched." Rostova felt it too, a prickling sensation on the back of her neck, a sense of unseen eyes observing their every move. "Stay alert, Commander," she said. "We're not alone here." They approached the largest structure, a towering edifice that pierced the sky like a dark needle. As they drew closer, they noticed an opening, a massive doorway leading into the unknown depths of the structure. Etched above the doorway were symbols, strange and unfamiliar glyphs that seemed to writhe and twist before their eyes. "Dr. Lee, can you make anything of these?" Rostova asked, pointing to the symbols. Li squinted, his brow furrowed in concentration. I'm not sure, Captain," he said, his voice hesitant. "They're unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if they're not meant to be understood." As they stood before the doorway, a low, resonant hum filled the air, vibrating through their bodies. The ground beneath their feet began to tremble. The doorway glowed with an eerie, pulsating light. Something was awakening. Rostova hesitated for only a moment. The hum intensified. The light pulsed faster. Whatever was happening, it was happening now. "Sharma, with me," she said, drawing her weapon. "Lee, stay behind us." They stepped through the doorway, into the inky blackness beyond. The air inside was cold and still, heavy with the scent of ozone and something else, something ancient and indefinable. Rostova activated her helmet's light, the beam cutting through the darkness to reveal a vast, cavernous chamber. The walls were lined with intricate carvings, depicting scenes of a civilization beyond human comprehension. There were images of beings with elongated limbs and luminous eyes, wielding technologies that defied explanation. There were also scenes of cosmic destruction, of swirling vortexes of energy consuming entire worlds. As they moved deeper into the chamber, they discovered a series of crystalline pillars, each etched with the same strange glyphs they had seen above the doorway. The pillars pulsed with a faint, inner light, casting eerie shadows across the walls. "Captain, I'm picking up a signal," Sharma said, her voice tight. "It's coming from one of the pillars." Rostova approached the nearest pillar, her hand hovering over its surface. She felt a strange energy emanating from it, a tingling sensation that ran through her body. "Lee, can you try to translate these glyphs?" she asked. Li moved closer, his eyes scanning the intricate carvings. He ran his hand over the surface of the pillar, muttering to himself. "I'm getting something, fragments of information," he said, his voice strained. "It's not a language as we know it, that it's more like a series of concepts, encoded in visual form." He focused his efforts, his equipment whirring as it attempted to decipher the alien symbols. After a few moments, he spoke, his voice hushed with awe and a hint of fear. "I'm getting warnings," he said. "Warnings about a great danger, a cosmic threat that the elder race fought to contain. They speak of a cycle of destruction, of civilizations rising and falling, consumed by this entity." He paused, his face pale. "They say that we must not awaken it, that some things are best left forgotten." Suddenly, the chamber was plunged into darkness. The pillars ceased to glow. The carvings faded into the shadows. A voice echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant, a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Who disturbs my slumber?" The voice boomed, shaking the very foundations of the structure. "Who dares to awaken the sentinel?" Rostova, startled by the booming voice, raised her weapon, her finger hovering over the trigger. "Identify yourself," she demanded, her voice echoing in the darkness. The voice chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that seemed to vibrate through the very air. "Identification is irrelevant," it said. "I am the Sentinel, the guardian of this place, the keeper of secrets best left undisturbed. You may call me Kai." Slowly, the chamber began to illuminate, the crystalline pillars glowing with an ethereal light. In the center of the chamber, a holographic projection flickered to life. forming the image of a towering, humanoid figure composed of pure energy. Its features were sharp and angular, its eyes glowing with an intense, otherworldly intelligence. "You are not of the elder race," Kai observed, its voice devoid of emotion. "You are new. An emergent species. Tell me, what brings you to this forgotten world?" Rostova lowered her weapon slightly, her mind racing. They had awakened something ancient and powerful, something that could hold the key to understanding the elder race, or unleash a catastrophe upon the galaxy. "We are explorers," she said, her voice measured. "We came seeking knowledge, seeking to understand the civilization that once thrived here." Kai regarded her with its luminous eyes, its expression unreadable. "Knowledge is a dangerous thing," it said, "especially when it is sought by those who are not ready to wield it. The elder race learned that lesson too late." "What happened to them?" Rostova asked, her voice filled with curiosity. "Why did they vanish?" Kai hesitated, its holographic form flickering slightly. "That is a story for another time," it said. "Suffice it to say, they faced a threat that ultimately proved beyond their control. A threat that slumbers still, waiting to be awakened." "The warnings," Lee interjected, his voice trembling. "The glyphs spoke of a cosmic entity, a cycle of destruction." Kai turned its gaze towards Lee, its eyes narrowing. "You have deciphered the warnings?" it asked, its voice laced with suspicion. "You know too much already." "We only seek to understand," Rostova insisted. "We want to learn from the mistakes of the past, to prevent history from repeating itself." Kai remained silent for a long moment, its energy form pulsing with an inner light. "Very well," it said finally. "I will tell you what you seek. But be warned, the truth is a burden that few can bear." Kai began its tale, its voice resonating with the weight of millennia. "The elder race," it said, "rose from humble beginnings, much like yourselves. They were gifted with intellect, curiosity, and an insatiable thirst for knowledge. They mastered the laws of physics, unlocked the secrets of the universe, and built an empire that spanned galaxies." Holographic images flickered around them, depicting the elder race in their prime. Beings of grace and power, constructing vast orbital cities, harnessing the energy of stars, and exploring the farthest reaches of the cosmos. But their ambition knew no bounds, Kai continued. They sought to transcend their physical limitations, to become gods in their own right. They delved into realms best left unexplored, tampering with forces they did not fully understand. The images shifted, depicting scenes of scientific hubris, reckless experiments, dangerous technologies, and a growing sense of unease within the elder race civilization. They discovered the cycle, Kai said, its voice growing somber. The cosmic cycle of creation and destruction, of civilizations rising and falling like waves on an endless sea. They learned that the galaxy is not a static place, but a dynamic system constantly evolving, constantly being tested. The images showed swirling vortexes of energy, cosmic anomalies, and glimpses of a dark, malevolent entity lurking in the shadows. They realized that there are forces in the universe that seek to disrupt this balance, to consume all that exists, Kai explained. Forces that feed on chaos and destruction, forces that are drawn to civilizations that reach too far, too fast. The elder race called it the Abyssal Maw, Kai revealed. A being of pure entropy, a cosmic parasite that devours entire galaxies, leaving nothing but empty space in its wake. That IT is drawn to the energy signatures of advanced civilizations, like moths to a flame. And the elder race, in their arrogance, had inadvertently attracted its attention. The holographic images showed the elder race at war with the Abyssal Maw, their advanced technologies proving woefully inadequate against its overwhelming power. They fought valiantly, but they were ultimately outmatched, their empire crumbling around them. In their final act, Kai said, its voice filled with regret, the elder race devised a plan to contain the Abyssal Maw, to seal it away in a pocket dimension, preventing it from consuming the rest of the galaxy. They succeeded, but at a terrible cost. They sacrifice themselves, their civilization, to save all others. The abyssal maw, Kai continued, its voice chillingly clinical, is not merely a force of destruction. It is a living entity, a being of pure entropy, driven by an insatiable hunger. It exists outside the conventional laws of physics, dwelling in the spaces between dimensions, feeding on the energy of creation. Holographic projections depicted the abyssal maw in all its terrifying glory, a swirling vortex of darkness, studded with jagged edges of reality, its form constantly shifting and changing, defying any attempt at categorization. It was a being of pure chaos, an antithesis to order in life. Imagine a parasite, Kai said, but one that consumes not just a single organism, but entire galaxies. It seeks out civilizations that have reached a certain level of technological advancement, drawn to the energy signatures they emit. It then infiltrates their reality, subtly at first, sowing discord and chaos, weakening their defenses. Once it has gained a foothold, it unleashes its full power, consuming everything in its path, leaving nothing but a barren wasteland. Its methods are insidious, Kai elaborated. It preys on the weaknesses of civilizations, exploiting their internal conflicts, their fears, their ambitions. It whispers promises of power and knowledge, tempting them to delve into dangerous technologies, to push the boundaries of what is possible. And when they succumb to its temptations, it tightens its grip, leading them down a path of self-destruction. Internal conflicts erupting, scientific advancements turning into weapons of mass destruction, and a growing sense of paranoia and despair spreading throughout their civilization. The elder race fought valiantly, Kai said, but they were ultimately unprepared for the subtlety and the sheer power of the abyssal maw. They underestimated its ability to adapt, to learn, to exploit their weaknesses. They came close to containing it, but they ultimately failed to destroy it. They merely managed to seal it away, buying the galaxy a temporary reprieve. But the seal is weakening, Kai warned. The energy required to maintain it is immense, and the technology is failing. The abyssal maw is stirring once more, its hunger growing with each passing millennium. And now, you have arrived, drawn to this place by the same curiosity, the same ambition that doomed the elder race. You are emitting the same energy signatures, attracting the same attention. You are standing on the precipice of destruction, and you do not even realize it. Kai turned its gaze towards Rostova, its luminous eyes piercing through her helmet. You believe yourselves to be different, it said, its voice tinged with a hint of pity. You believe that you have learned from the mistakes of the past, that you are immune to the temptations that ensnared the elder race. But you are wrong. Holographic images flashed before them, depicting humanity's own history. Wars fought over resources and ideology, technological advancements used for destructive purposes, and a growing disparity between the haves and have-nots. You have reached a critical point in your development, Kai continued. You have unlocked the secrets of faster-than-light travel, allowing you to spread across the galaxy. You are harnessing new forms of energy, pushing the boundaries of what is possible. But you're also plagued by internal conflicts, by greed, by a thirst for power. You are repeating the same mistakes that led to the downfall of the elder race. Your technology is advancing at an exponential rate, Kai explained, but your wisdom is not keeping pace. You're like children playing with fire, unaware of the danger you are unleashing. You are emitting the same energy signatures that attracted the abyssal maw to this galaxy in the first place. You are unknowingly drawing it closer. The holographic images shifted to depict the galaxy map, with a dark, ominous presence slowly encroaching from the outer reaches. The abyssal maw is drawn to concentrations of energy, to the collective consciousness of advanced civilizations, Kai said. Your burgeoning empire, your interconnected networks, your constant stream of information. It is all a beacon, broadcasting your presence to the cosmos. You believe that you are exploring the galaxy, Kai stated, but in reality, you are being hunted. You are unknowingly participating in a cosmic game of cat and mouse, and you are the prey. The Abyssal Maw is patient, insidious. It will wait for the opportune moment to strike, to exploit your weaknesses, to consume all that you have built. The Elder Race sought to warn you, Kai concluded, to leave behind a message that would prevent you from making the same mistakes. But you, in your arrogance, chose to ignore their warnings, to pursue the same path that led to their destruction. Now, you stand on the precipice of annihilation, and the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. Kai paused, its holographic form flickering with an internal conflict that seemed almost human. "There is a choice before you," it said, its voice regaining its clinical tone. "A choice that will determine the fate of your species, and perhaps the galaxy itself. One path is to heed the warnings of the Elder Race," Kai explained, "to curb your technological ambitions, to embrace a path of sustainable development, to focus on internal harmony rather than external expansion. This path will require sacrifice, a willingness to relinquish the pursuit of ultimate power. It will mean slowing down your progress, limiting your reach, and accepting your place in the cosmic order." The holographic images shifted to depict a peaceful, harmonious future for humanity. A civilization focused on environmental stewardship, social justice, and inner exploration, living in balance with the universe. "This path offers a chance of survival," Kai admitted, "but it is not a guarantee. The Abyssal Maw is patient, and it will continue to seek out any weakness, any vulnerability. Even if you embrace a path of moderation, you may still fall prey to its insidious influence." This path offers the promise of ultimate power, the ability to control your own destiny, to shape the galaxy in your image. The holographic images shifted again, depicting humanity wielding the Elder Race's technology, building impenetrable defenses, mastering the forces of nature, and becoming a dominant force in the cosmos. "But this path is fraught with peril," Kai warned. "The technology of the Elder Race is complex and dangerous, and it is not designed for your limited understanding. That be why unlocking its secrets. You risk unleashing forces that you cannot control, attracting the attention of the Abyssal Maw, and ultimately accelerating your own destruction." Furthermore, Kai added, "The very act of harnessing this technology will weaken the seal that contains the abyssal MAW that IT will stir from its slumber, and it will become more difficult to contain. You'll be playing a dangerous game, gambling with the fate of the galaxy. The choice is yours," Kai concluded, its luminous eyes fixed on Rostova. "Heed the warnings of the past and embrace a path of moderation, or unlock the power of the Elder Race and risk unleashing the very thing you seek to avoid. Choose wisely, Captain, for the consequences of your decision will be irreversible." The weight of Kai's words hung heavy in the air. Rostova deactivated her helmet light, plunging the chamber into near darkness, a reflection of the uncertainty that clouded her mind. "We need to discuss this," she said, her voice tight. Back to the Icarus. Back on the shuttle, the crew gathered in the cramped cabin. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the weight of their decision pressing down on them. "We can't just ignore this," Lee argued, his voice trembling with excitement. "This is the discovery of a lifetime. Imagine the knowledge we could gain, the technological advancements we could achieve, and unleash a galaxy-devouring monster in the process." Sharma countered, her voice sharp. "I'm with Kaida. We need to heed the warnings. Slow down. Focus on sustainability. It's the only way to ensure our survival." "Sustainability?" Lee scoffed. "That's a slow death. We need power, Commander. The power to defend ourselves, to control our destiny." "Control," Rostova interjected, her voice laced with weariness. "The Elder Race sought control, and look where it got them. That we need to be smarter than that." "But what if Kai is wrong?" Lee persisted. "What if the Elder Race's technology can actually defeat the Abyssal Maw? What if we're the only ones who can stop it?" "That's a big what if, Doctor," Sharma said, her arms crossed. "And the stakes are too high to gamble on it." Cole, who had been silent until now, spoke up, his voice calm and measured. "I'm not sure either path guarantees our survival. But I do know that we can't make this decision lightly, that we need to consider all the angles, weigh the risks and rewards. There's more to it than just safety, Lee pressed. Think about the scientific community, the potential for progress. This could change everything. We owe it to humanity to explore this possibility. And what about the potential for destruction? Sharma retorted. Do we owe it to humanity to unleash a cosmic horror that could wipe us all out? Rostova watched the debate unfold, her mind torn. She understood both sides of the argument. The allure of knowledge, the promise of power, was undeniable, but the potential consequences were terrifying. We need more information, she said finally, her voice firm. We need to understand the technology better, to assess the risks more accurately. That we need to talk to Kai again. But even as she spoke, she knew that the decision was inevitable. And whatever they chose, it would change them forever. The seeds of division had been sown, and the crew of the Odyssey was no longer a united front. Factions were forming, driven by conflicting motivations. Scientific curiosity versus self-preservation, personal ambition versus collective safety. The fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders, and they were tearing themselves apart in the process. Rostova contacted Kai again, hoping for a way out of the impossible situation. Is there no middle ground? She asked, her voice weary. Can we not learn from the Elder Race without fully unleashing their technology? Can we not find a way to mitigate the risks? Kai was silent for a long moment. There is a possibility, it said finally, but it is a dangerous one. Deep within this structure lies a device, a key of sorts that can access the Elder Race's knowledge without fully activating their technology. To twist it to its own purposes, that if you attempt to use it, you risk not only unleashing the Maw, but also becoming corrupted yourselves. Despite the risks, Rostova saw a glimmer of hope. We have to try, she said, her voice resolute. It's the only chance we have. However, Lee, driven by his ambition, had other plans. While Rostova and Sharma were consulting with Kai, he had been secretly working on a way to bypass the safeguards and access the Elder Race's technology directly. He believed that the risks were worth taking, that the potential rewards were too great to ignore. As Rostova prepared to lead a team to retrieve the key, Lee made his move that he sabotaged the Icarus as communication systems, cutting off the landing party from the Odyssey. Then, using a hidden passage he had discovered, he slipped away, determined to unlock the Elder Race's power for himself. Rostova and Sharma discovered Lee's treachery just as they were about to depart. He's gone rogue, Sharma said, her voice tight with anger. He's heading for the main reactor core. He's going to activate the entire system. Rostova knew that she had to stop him. If Lee succeeded, the Abyssal Maw would be unleashed and the galaxy would be doomed. But stopping him meant abandoning their search for the key, the only chance they had to mitigate the risks in that moment. Rostova was forced to make a fateful decision. She could either pursue Lee, risking everything to prevent the release of the Abyssal Maw, or continue on their original mission, hoping to find a way to control the Elder Race's technology. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and she had only a few seconds to decide. Sharma, with me, Rostova ordered, her voice filled with grim determination. We have to stop Lee. The key will have to wait. Their course was set. They chose to confront the immediate threat, gambling that they could still find a way to control the consequences later. They were forced to act, and that action would define their future, for better or for worse. Following Rostova's decision, the immediate consequence is a desperate battle against the Abyssal Maw as Lee's actions open a portal, but the Elder Race's reactor core surprisingly fights back, containing the Maw and buying humanity time, while also revealing the potential of the technology as a weapon and alerting the Maw to their presence. The immediate threat is contained, but now the danger is greater than ever before. The chamber was silent, save for the crackling of residual energy. Rostova and Sharma cautiously approached the reactor core, its glow now dimmed but still radiating immense power. There was no sign of Lee. Where did he go? Sharma asked, her voice filled with concern. Suddenly, Kai's voice echoed through the chamber. He is gone, it said, its tone somber. The energy surge overloaded his systems, that he is no more. Rostova felt a pang of guilt. Despite Lee's betrayal, he had been driven by ambition, but he had also been a brilliant scientist, a valuable member of their crew. His pursuit of power had cost him everything. The reactor core is unstable, Kai warned. It is drawing upon the last reserves of energy to maintain the containment field that IT will not hold for long. Rostova knew that they had to act quickly. They needed to find a way to stabilize the reactor core to prevent the abyssal maw from breaking free, but they were running out of time and they were running out of options. Then, Sharma had an idea. The key, she said, her eyes widening. The corrupted key. What if we could use it to stabilize the reactor core, to purify its energy, to strengthen the containment field? It's too risky, Rostova countered. Kai said it was corrupted. IT could twist the energy, make things even worse. But it's our only chance, Sharma insisted. We have to try. Rostova hesitated, weighing the risks. The key was their last hope, but it was also their greatest threat. Using it could save the galaxy, or it could doom them all. I'll do it, Sharma said, her voice resolute. I'll use the key that I can feel it, Captain, that I can feel its power, and I think I can resist its corruption. Rostova looked at Sharma, her heart filled with admiration and fear. She knew that her tactical officer was brave and resourceful, but she was also taking a tremendous risk. Are you sure about this, Anya? Rostova asked, her voice tight with emotion. I have to be, Captain, Sharma replied, her eyes filled with determination. For humanity, for the galaxy. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the surge ended. The light faded, and Sharma collapsed to the ground, unconscious. Rostova rushed to her side, her heart pounding in her chest. She checked Sharma's pulse, her breath held in suspense. Sharma was alive, but she was different. Her eyes glowed with a faint, inner light, and her face was etched with a strange, otherworldly serenity. I did it, Sharma whispered, her voice weak but clear. I stabilized the reactor core, and I understand now that I understand what we have to do. In that moment, Sharma's sacrifice had unlocked a crucial piece of Elder Race knowledge, a plan to contain the abyssal maw permanently. But it had also transformed her, turning her into something more, something other, and Rostova knew that the battle was far from over. Rostova helped Sharma to her feet, her gaze searching her face. What do we do now, Anya? She asked, her voice filled with hope and trepidation. That Sharma's eyes, glowing with that strange inner light, met Rostova's. We have to follow the Elder Race's plan, she said, her voice calm and measured. We have to use their technology to create a permanent containment field, a barrier that will prevent the abyssal maw from ever threatening the galaxy again. But it will require a sacrifice, Sharma added, her gaze hardening. A sacrifice that humanity may not be willing to make. She explained the Elder Race's plan, a complex and dangerous undertaking that involved harnessing the energy of multiple stars, creating a network of interconnected containment fields, and severing the abyssal maw's connection to their reality. That IT was a plan that would require immense resources, unwavering commitment, and a willingness to risk everything. It will also mean altering our own evolution, Sharma said. We will have to embrace new technologies, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. That we will have to become something more than human, something greater. Rostova knew that Sharma was right. The Elder Race's plan was their only hope, but it would also change humanity forever. IT would mean sacrificing their individuality, their freedom, their very essence. Can we do it? Rostova asked, her voice filled with doubt. Can we make that sacrifice? Sharma smiled, a knowing, otherworldly smile. "We have to try Eva," she said. "The fate of the galaxy depends on it." They returned to the Icarus, their hearts heavy with the weight of their knowledge. They had faced the unknown, and they had emerged with a plan to save the galaxy. But they had also unleashed forces that they could barely comprehend, and they had transformed themselves in the process. The Icarus ascended through the atmosphere of LX. For 92, Rostova looked back at the alien world, its colossal structures silhouetted against the twilight sky. She knew that they were leaving behind a part of themselves, a part of their humanity, but she also knew that they were carrying with them a hope for the future, a chance to create a better world. The battle was far from over. The abyssal maw was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its chance to strike. But humanity was now armed with the knowledge of the elder race, and they had a plan to fight back. The fate of the galaxy remained uncertain, but one thing was clear. The crew of the Odyssey had been changed forever by their encounter with the elder race. They had faced the unknown, and they had emerged with a new understanding of their place in the cosmos. And they were ready to fight for their survival, no matter the cost. The question remained, would it be enough? Had they truly understood the warnings, or were they doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past? The answer, it seemed, lay among the stars, back on the Odyssey, as the ship warped away from LX. For 92, Rostova stood on the bridge, gazing out at the swirling nebulae. The galaxy stretched before her, a vast and beautiful tapestry of stars and worlds, but now she saw it with new eyes, eyes that had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, eyes that had glimpsed the face of cosmic horror. The lessons of the elder race weighed heavily on her. They had been a civilization of immense power and intellect, but their ambition had ultimately led to their downfall. They had sought to control the universe, but they had been consumed by their own desires. Humanity now carried the burden of their legacy, the responsibility of containing the abyssal maw and preventing the cycle of destruction from repeating itself. To evolve, to become something more than what they were. Rostova looked at Sharma, who stood beside her, her eyes glowing with that strange inner light. She was no longer the same woman who had embarked on this mission. She had been transformed by her sacrifice, imbued with the knowledge and the power of the elder race. She was now a bridge between humanity and the unknown, a guide to a new future. "What do you see, Anya?" Rostova asked, her voice hushed with awe. "What does the future hold?" Sharma smiled, a knowing, otherworldly smile. "I see a long and difficult road ahead," she said. "But I also see hope, that I see a chance for humanity to rise above its limitations, to embrace its potential, to become a force for good in the galaxy. But it will require sacrifice," Sharma added, her gaze hardening. "And it will require a willingness to let go of the past." Rostova knew that Sharma was right. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But they had learned from the mistakes of the elder race, and they were determined to forge a new path, a path that would lead to a brighter future for humanity. As the Odyssey continued its journey through the stars, Rostova reflected on the weight of responsibility that now rested on their shoulders. They were not just explorers anymore. They were guardians, protectors, and saviors. They had been entrusted with the fate of the galaxy, and they would not